My Lords, I rise to speak about homeschooling and hopefully to correct 2 or 3 of the misconceptions that have already been outlined by noble lords. Now, it's obvious that school doesn't suit everybody, and I declare an interest because 3 of my 5 grandchildren have been homeschooled and they're turning out brilliantly. So I think that homeschooling suits some people, it suits some parents, and therefore to put further measures and pressures on those parents could be a mistake. Parents who homeschool come from a huge range of backgrounds, and they've chosen to educate their children outside school, providing an individualised education to their child, suitable to the child's age, ability and aptitude, because it's in the child's best interests, and it's geared to supporting their well-being and future contributions as citizens. At the moment, there are just over 78,000 children known to be home educated in England. Many have tried school and found that it failed them. And common factors include a lack of effective special needs support in schools, the pressures of standardisation and testing, failure to stop bullying, discrimination and a lack of support for disabled children and those with medical needs. Now, registered children are kept track of by local authorities, and this continues at the moment. The most in-depth study carried out into home education in 2002 by Dr. Paula Rothermel found that home-educated children demonstrated high levels of attainment and good social skills. Someone in my wider family has a PhD in astrophysics. They were home-educated, and it hasn't held them back so far. Now, given the intrusive nature of the proposals, I would at least have expected some form of independently reviewed study showing that there's some sort of systemic problem with the treatment of the family who home-educate, which the government's been unable to address by other means. So where is that study? Where has this repressive attitude come from? Part 3 of the bill has provoked a tidal wave of concern and condemnation throughout the home education community. Now, these proposals have been already rejected by parents and young people in a preceding consultation called Children Not in School. So I'm wondering why they've come back now. The mandatory registration of home-educated children is not the simple creation of a list. Local authorities already possess and keep such lists. The bill goes so much further, seeking to treat home education as a problem that needs bringing under control, rather than an asset which should be nurtured and protected. The government doesn't trust parents. That's the message that's coming over. It's a very serious step to compel law-abiding families who are educating their children at home to be subject to statutory inquiries about their children in the absence of any presenting problem. This approach to families crosses a line in the involvement of the state in family life. The state is going to be able to single out a discrete group of law-abiding families from their peer group and then subject them to special monitoring. Crucially, the bill introduces no system of oversight of local authority conduct or safeguards for the vast majority of home educators who deliver a high-quality education. Local authorities could misuse these proposed duties to impose standardised requirements on the format and content of education that children receive at home, which would, of course, destroy the whole point of child-centred, creatable and flexible schooling that's characteristic of home education at its best. Now, in the Green Party, we've been careful to develop policy on home education in partnership with home educators and their children, because effective cooperation aligns professionals and citizens as equals and encourages them to work together to create services that are as effective as possible. And as a result, society sees better outcomes from its public services. Now, we have received briefings from home education groups not simply explaining the dangers of the proposals in the current form, but offering concrete suggestions for achieving the government's purported aims in a way that would actually better achieve the stated objectives and enable positive collaboration between home educators and local authorities, rather than the conflict that many of us can see happening. If we want effective policy on home education that delivers good outcomes for children and young people, surely it's better to work with home educating families rather than against them. And so I would strongly urge the Government to open discussions between now and committee stage with home education groups and bring forward changes which enhance the life chances of these children rather than damage them.
Yeah.